This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites, like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies, like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee for your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Crazy lesbians, and welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly minisode where we dig into the things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth. This week we're talking about a slutty Rupert Everett, love that, The Dark Web, a divisive space movie, and Valentines and Future Husbands.
Heck yeah, we are.
Alright, but who is slutty Rupert Everett? Well, not who is, but what film contains a slutty Rupert Everett?
What movie does not contain the slutty Rupert Everett that he is in? But honestly, okay, so this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a very long time. I got the Blu-ray for it eons ago, and then Severin just released a beautiful, stunning 4K version of it, which, again, I had to buy. Still had not seen it. And so this weekend, I think maybe Joe Bob that was doing it, and so like people on my timeline were talking about it. And so I was like, okay, this is it. I have a day and I'm going to watch 3 movies that I've been meaning to watch, which are 3 Italian horror films directed by Michael Soavi. Not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but the one I wanted to talk about in particular was Cemetery Man, aka Della Morte Dell'Amore.
Oh.
Which stars Rupert Everett in it, of course, and this is a weird movie.
Okay. I mean, most Italian horror movies are.
Yes, this is a weird movie in which a cemetery man, a man that lives in the cemetery as the kind of keeper of the cemetery, has a mentally handicapped big friend named Nagi, and together
Okay.
This is
big
the
friend.
least.
Is this of Mice and Men?
Basically, this is. But I'm gonna say this is like the least problematic part of this movie. There is a lot of problematic parts of this movie.
Cool.
This is a wild movie. He is a graveyard keeper with Nagi, who can only say nah, I guess. And they tend to the graveyard. He's a loner, and for some reason, every 7 days after a person is buried, they come back from the dead. I don't know if this is like a local thing or if this is like a worldwide issue, but he basically is there to maintain the graveyard and after 7 days, put the person back down in their grave. He's sort of like looked upon as a needed issue from the town. Like no one seems to want to talk to him. Everyone seems to think he's impotent, but not even just impotent. Like some people think that he doesn't have a penis. He does have one. It's a plot point later. And so, yeah, so like he kills the zombies with his friend Nagi. Then at some point meets this woman who is there to bury her husband and falls in love with her. And they have really hot, passionate, really, really hot sex on the graveyard next to her husband's grave, because as she says, she never keeps any secrets from him. But of course, by the time they have sex, it's 7 days later, and he comes up and ends up biting her, and so then he ends up killing her after she turns. And it becomes this whole thing, and then it turns into this like really weird psychosexual thing where he keeps seeing her in other women, and There's some very weird things that happen. Nagi is obsessed with this teen girl, the mayor's daughter, and yeah,
What?
and like it's played off as like an innocent love thing between them, but it's not.
No.
And there's some like very weird things that happen in this movie. This movie is very like I was not expecting this to be as icky as it is, and yet very beautiful. It's a beautiful film. It's shot beautifully. Rupert Everett again is the sluttiest man and the sexiest man I've ever seen in this movie. But it has some very weird things going on, and I'm not 100% sure what to think about it. The story itself is kind of interesting in the way that it like ends up turning in on itself. And I don't think it's necessarily like condoning the behaviors that happen in this movie, but at the same time, it's icky in a very weird way. And so this was a very weird watch. I want to talk about it because a lot of people love this movie, and I enjoyed myself for the most part, but I had to compartmentalize certain aspects of it because this movie was from 1994, so it's not like, yes, it's years ago, but it's still in like the 90s. So I'm like, some of the stuff in here, I'm like, maybe if this was like a low budget 70s movie that, came out, I could kind of understand. So I don't know what to think about this movie, but I did enjoy it, and there's some really cool cinematography in it. And I think that Michelle Soavi is a really good director. I just not really sure what to think.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was looking at Letterboxd stuff about it, just like information gathering. Huh.
Yeah, and so I think that's that. Thank you, Purpurine. She says that it sounds like a forewarning going to the movie will help more than hinder. And yes, so like I did want to talk about that because I do think this is probably the most beautifully shot Italian movie that I have seen. Like I think that on a filmmaking perspective, it eclipses what Argento's doing, and Argento and him have worked together. Like Argento has produced two of his other movies, The Church and The Sect, and also co-wrote The Church. And like, I think this was a really beautiful movie. There's some really stunning moments in it, but there's also some weird things that I don't know. I don't know how to feel about. So it's one of those movies that like, be forewarned going into it that there is some weird sexual stuff going on in this film. But it's also, I still kind of recommend seeing it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Ooh. Yes, it does. Yeah.
Like
okay.
I'm happy I saw it, but at the same time I'm sitting here going
a few with edibles. I will say I was partially concerned you were gonna say he like comes on the ground and that's what awakens the zombies, because that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Look, guys. No one really... I'm the only person who knows what subversive is. And subversive is coming on the ground and creating a zombie apocalypse.
Take a look. I like this man.
Take a look. It's an Abbott. It's Rupert Everett. Wow!
This man. I do recommend maybe popping an edible or something while
don't you worry. That's not a problem.
But like, okay, even when he's like holding a gun and it's supposed to be like danger, like this, like, come on. This man.
Why is he shirtless the whole movie?
Oh, the camera loves him. He wears like this loose fitting white shirt with the deep V a lot of times.
Of course he does. Of course he fucking does.
Plus, I just love it because he just oozes sex appeal, and he like has such hot chemistry with the female lead, and he's gay in real life, and so I just love that. I love him. I think he's a good actor.
He is, actually.
That's Delamore, aka Cemetery Man. I recommend it with a lot of caveats.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's talk about
good.
the dark web.
The dark web. Okay. I saw a couple things. I've seen like some cool stuff this week, but everything's under embargo because I can't keep track of when anything's coming out. But I watched it. on Thursday is called Red Rooms. Pascal Plante's new film. And it's really good. It is the story of a woman named Kelly Ann who is obsessed with the case of a serial killer in Montreal who is being accused of killing and kidnapping, torturing, and killing young blonde girls on a live stream, and selling the videos on the dark web. And it's real fucked up. It doesn't show anything, but it doesn't mean it's any less fucked up. And it's looking at Kelly Ann's kind of obsession with the case. Why is she so obsessed with it? What is her end goal with it? Why is she going every day to why is every day she going to the courtroom to see the proceedings? What is her goal? And the whole movie kind of is a journey to kind of understand what her end game is. And you can't ever really tell, is she good? Is she bad? What is her intention here? It's very anti-hero. She's a model, so she's this stereotypically gorgeous woman who is also a hacker and is antisocial and doesn't really talk to anyone. And it's a really, really dark look at true crime obsession and the camps of people that arise when you become obsessed with violence and real world violence. And it's really interesting and a really cool way to see dark web stuff tackled, in that it's not just about the dark web, but more about obsession and what it means to be obsessed and what that will drive you to do. And if your intentions are good, even if your intentions are good, does that mean you're a good person? Yeah. It's really good. It's coming out soon. It was at festivals last year, and it's coming, I think it has a theatrical tour this month, and it's coming soon to VOD. I need to triple check, actually.
I don't think I'm familiar with his work.
Yes, I am not super... this is his third feature. Pardon me. September 6th, this opens theatrically. September 6th.
Okay.
With some, advanced screenings in August. But I have actually, never... I kind of heard of him. He's a Montreal filmmaker. But his other two films, I don't believe are very genre. And, honestly, Red Rooms is genre. It's definitely more like a David... it's gotten a lot of comparisons to David Fincher. It's very much in that, psychological horror, psychological thriller / horror bent, where it's, all very real-world serial killer-y vibes, but there's a lot of tension, especially in watching her kind of burn her life down for a singular goal that isn't always clear. It's quite fascinating. Really well edited. It really is only a couple characters, and it's also just a really interesting look at how to create something that's really disturbing without showing explicitly shocking imagery and exploiting female bodies. It's just it's a cool inversion. Yeah.
Yes, Purpurine. It's called Red Rooms, and not that this matters, but he's really cute. I pulled him up on IMDb, Pascal.
Oh, I was the serial killer? Yes, he's young. No. He's pretty young too.
He's cute.
And his okay, so I have to just so I interviewed him today in the cast today, and there's a point where something happens. It's kind of a climactic moment, and it sounds like a fucking Lingua Ignota song. And if you listen to this podcast, you know how much my ass loves Lingua Ignota. And I said, can you tell me about the music? And then he told me, and then I said, oh, are you familiar with Lingua Ignota? He's we edited to her and we tried to make it sound like her. And I was oh
my goodness.
And I was I got it.
That's
I felt so cool. I was I know my girl's scary voice anywhere. It wasn't her, but you could tell they were replicating the kind of scream she does. So it's real good. It's about a woman who's really antisocial and sucks shit. And I love movies where women are kind of fucked up anti-heroes that aren't given you can tell something's wrong, but she isn't given a specific trauma. They're not trying to give her some tragic backstory. It's a lot of it is you fill in the blanks yourself, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. or for as much as you can enjoy a
Good.
movie about children getting like kidnapped and tortured and murdered on the internet. You know what I mean?
Family film.
Yeah. Fun for the whole family.
I'm glad to hear that it was good, because I've seen that pop up in my email, and I was like, this has the potential to be really interesting and subversive, or...
It is.
Uh,
It could have
so,
gone, and it's not a second screen horror. Like, there are a lot of times where we're, like, looking at her on, like, doing stuff online, looking at screens, but it is not a second screen horror movie. It's not like an Unfriended or anything like that, because I thought that might have been the case. No. So we're not, like, this is not a movie where they're, like, going on the dark web and, like, looking at her going through, like, creepy pictures and videos. It's much more involved than trying to, like, shock you. This ain't Megan is missing. Let's just put it that way.
oh, God. Oh.
Remember when I made you watch that?
I sure as fuck do. I also remember when I skipped through, like, the last 20 minutes. Like, is this still happening?
Yep. Ugh. Oh boy.
Interesting. All right. I'm glad to hear that it's good. I was curious about it.
Yeah, highly recommend. It's like, yeah, people are talking about it a lot, and I think it's going to get more and more attention. It's just like a really, really smart look at the horrors of the deep web, but then also like the horrors of what everyday people are capable of when they become obsessed with something, and like how we have way too much access to everyone and everything all at once.
All right. Let's talk about a movie I really enjoyed, and I got the feeling you did not enjoy as much. Let's talk about Alien Romulus.
Yeah! Let's talk about it! What'd you like?
Fede Alvarez's new film in, of course, the long-storied Alien franchise about Rain, played by Kaylee Spaney, who I love, and I kept getting distracted watching because I was like, man, she would have been a really good Ellie in The Last of Us. But neither here nor there. She is working on this mining planet owned by Weyland-Yutani, the company that is evil and fascist. And she is stuck here on like a life thing where like they have to give up their life and work, and then after a certain amount of time they might be able to get off the planet. And that these schemes never work, and so she's stuck there. She has a kind of defective android that her father had found and reprogrammed, named Andy, played by the amazing David Johnson, who was in, if you haven't seen it, Rye Lane. Rye Lane is one of the best romantic comedies I've ever seen. It came out, I think, at Sundance in 22 or 23, and is now, I think it was on Hulu for a while. I don't know if it still is or not, but that movie is fantastic. He's really good in this, with like an asterisk on that as well. And they kind of...
Sorry.
She and her friends want to get off the planet. They find there's a ship that they have that they go out to, like this decommissioned space station that is floating and is going to be crashing into the rings of this planet in like 36 hours. And luckily, because Andy is an android and is a Weyland-Yutani android, is able to get into the spaceship. And they get there. Insanity unleashes aliens. A really bad... I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil something really quick. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, please skip ahead, because I'm going to spoil something that everyone's talking about. So I feel like it's not that big of a thing. But they use AI and puppetry to bring Ian Holm back from the dead. And this
Apparently
is the part
it's not
of the movie.
AI. Apparently it was not AI.
Really?
Babe, I don't know.
I heard that it was like, I saw an interview with Fede, and it sounded like it was a mix of puppetry as well as some like CG, and I don't know. All I know is that it looks terrible. One, and two, I don't like that we're bringing people's likeness back.
There's no reason. There's literally no fucking reason. Sorry.
There's no reason at all, because it's a completely different android. It's not Ash. It is a person named Rook. I think it's very, yes, Purpurina, it is sticky ethically. And you're right. They got a permission from the family to do this. I don't know. That part really bothered me. Even knowing afterwards that they got the family's permission, that they did this, it creeps me out that we are in a stage where we can use people. And I felt this way as well about Rogue One with the really bad CG
Oh
Princess
yeah, I
Leia
forgot about that.
at the very end. Like this kind of stuff really bugs the crap out of me. I'm like, no, no, no. Let's not do it. And this is completely needless because it's not like this is Ash. This is not like they found Ash's body and have brought him. This is a completely different character. Yes, Yes, some of the androids in the Alien movies are clones of each other. We've seen Lance Hendrickson's character in a couple different ways. I get it, but at the same time, there's no point for it.
Lance Henriksen isn't dead.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the other thing. No, but I'm just saying, like,
Sorry.
there
No, I know. I'm just being a brat.
The other thing that I found this really interesting TikTok video by a black creator that I guess talks about the magical Negro trope, which this movie kind of does in a way. I am not equipped to talk about it, but that video was really interesting because he's not really sure how to feel about this, because this is a movie in which a person doesn't have autonomy but gets autonomy, and so there's like it's very weird. I am not really sure what is going on with this character. I feel as if there's something here that Fede is trying to say, but I don't think it's very successful. Those are the two parts that I did not like about this movie. The rest of it I thought was a blast. I had fun.
Yeah. So, okay. So, like, I had high hopes, and I was excited to see it, but it just, to me, feels so much like it feels like a power grab. Like, it feels like a power struggle in this movie. Like, for Fede Alvarez trying to show off his stuff, and then Disney or what, like 20th Century's like handprints, because it feels, and maybe it's like off base, but it just feels like there's such a struggle here between like fan service and originality that like really bothers me. And there's like 6 different endings, and it was too long. I'm sorry, but like there was like 6 different endings to this movie, and it felt like it did not know how to end because it didn't know like exactly what it wanted to be in terms of like where it exists in the chronology and exists in like the pantheon of not chronology, that's not true, but like the pantheon of alien movies. I think it has an identity crisis. I think it's trying to both be different, but also like follows very closely in the footsteps of its predecessors in a way that like for some is probably fine, but for me, I'm like, it's kind of lazy. Like, it's a little lazy. The other ones, like, went nuts and introduced us, like, weird-ass god dudes. And, like, I'm not saying do Prometheus and Covenant. Like, I'm not saying that. But, like, you know, Fede Alvarez is like, there's the nastiest shit you've ever seen in this movie. And then I watched it and I'm like, what was it? You know? And, like...
Did he say that? Because I've not heard him say that.
Apparently somewhat, again, I thought it was online, fucking grains of salt abound, but like, he had said things, I remember seeing quotes, I can't remember the source, so again, who knows what I'm talking about, but like, about like it being really gross and having all these like really gory, like sickening moments, but there's not a lot of gore. It's like actually,
no,
like there's a lot of,
I was actually
there's
happy
a lot of
that
kills. There's a lot of kills, but there's like not a lot of gore. And, you know, he was like teasing a lot of gore, and it's just like, I don't know. It just, there was like, I just feel like there was like a little bit of cognitive dissonance here between like, and I'm not saying, I gave it 3 stars in my review. Like, it obviously has some great set pieces. I think there's some really great moments that feel like a Dead Space game. I think, like, I loved having a younger crew. I loved how this movie really engages with the idea of capitalism as a really fucked up machine. And, like, they really bring these, like, labor rights and, like, union issues to the forefront. And I really like how it's engaging with labor, because Alien is a series about labor and, like, workers' rights and how workers are constantly abused.
It's about blue-collar workers.
Yeah, and, like, this one... It's, like, in the background of a lot of the Alien movies, but here it's in the forefront about, like, the actual, like real human loss at, like, huge scales. because of the capitalist machine. Like no one has parents. All their parents died in the mines because of like lung issues, and they're all like teenagers on their own. And I love that it's engaging with that. I just think once it like gets to like the lore alien stuff, it's trying really hard to meld like Easter eggs and like fan service with new stuff. And then also David Johnson's character Andy is an affront, and I do not understand how that they thought that was at all an appropriate thing to put in this movie. And I say this, and I've talked about this with some people because I was going to put it in my review, but like I did not know how to put it in a way that was like made sense or appropriate. But you're basically, and this bothers me in a lot of sci-fi, when you transpose essentially tropes, like physical acting tropes that you would give to a developmentally disabled character, and you put them on an android and say, oh, they're just a broken android, but you're having the person act like they are developmentally disabled and like unable to function at a certain level. I find that like really sus, because it just feels like a very lazy way to have like not just a magical Negro character, but like the magical disabled person who is magical and like can become smart. But you don't like it when they get agency. And what happens when you get agency over the body? And also it's a black character that's literally a slave to a white girl. I'm sorry, but like it ain't like, perhaps optics were not front of mind. And I wish they had been, because it sucks, because David Johnson's performance is awesome. He's a really good actor. It's just like the only black character in the movie is like the slave character, and they don't like him when he gets smarter and gets autonomy.
See, I thought that was smart, though. I thought that was kind of smart.
It's smart, but the optics are shit. Either like, on one hand, I get it, but I think the way they have him malfunctioning, not like glitching or like actual mechanical errors, it's him like acting like a child, and like he looks like a man but acts like a child, and again, it's like transposing developmental, like what people like kind of think of when they think of someone who might have a disability, like a developmental disability, and then just mapping it onto a robot. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's like ethically kind of gross. Maybe that's just me. I just like, did not make me feel comfortable in that they made him basically like he was mentally like not, I don't know, whatever. It's just, I think it's clunky. I think it's not like no one like really looked at this and thought,
it is clunky. I will agree. I did find there was this interview with Fede in Hollywood Reporter where he was talking about the character of Andy, and I did think this was an interesting quote that kind of adds context to what he was trying to do. I don't think he was wholly successful, but the quote, his interview says, "Synthetics always represent the oppressed minority, particularly in Blade Runner and the worlds of Ridley Scott. So as a Uruguayan and a bit of an outsider in this world, I saw myself at Andy. When you go work somewhere else like I did in Hollywood, you feel you're being told, quote unquote, you're one of us as long as you make money for us. If it's good for the system, then it's great. If it's not, then it's not really about you." So to me, so that's me talking too deep into the themes and what the movie represents. So I do think there's something interesting here in terms of the way in which, and I wish I could like include the TikTok video of the guy, the black creator on TikTok that was talking about, I guess he talks about this trope in a lot of things, but like he set up like, you know, these are the three things that defines a magical Negro. I might still have it, Purpurina, and I will see if I can find it. And he talks about it, but then he also talks about how it's interesting that when the character gets autonomy, that is when all of a sudden he is no longer the safe minority, the safe black person, and all of a sudden people around him are afraid. And so he dissects it in a way that I found was so interesting and completely above my head in terms of what this character does in the film, that I think it's interesting. I agree with you. I don't think it's wholly successful at all, but I do think he left it like his thing was like, I don't know how to feel about about this character. And so I think that is, but not my cup of tea to, or
yeah.
not my ability to really dissect and like bring it. I will try to find that creator's video, and maybe we can share it in the show notes. But I thought what he was doing, talking about it, was very measured and very informative and intelligent way of talking about this character that I agree is not the best representation in this movie.
Yeah, and like I think this is a problem that Fede Alvarez has in a lot of his movies. Like he's very clunky. He has like really good eye for scares and tension, but when it comes to any kind of like emotional human beat, like look, I love The Evil Dead 2013, but the way he handles addiction and stuff in that movie, could be better. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me started on Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2. Those movies make me want to jump out of a window. So it's like I think the problem really comes down to I think he's good at thinking of like these big ideas, but the ability, like his ability, I think, to like really work with the nuance here might not be his like strongest suit as a writer.
His handle is at Freddy's Roommate. FREDDIES Roommate. That's the handle of the TikTok guy. Cool. I'll send you the link if you want to include it in the show notes.
Cool, I will.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. It left me feeling a little bit disappointed. But that's just me.
That's fair. I was surprised at the way in which it honored all of the films before, and I get what you're saying about it doesn't know how to end. But I would hazard to say that it has the same ending as most Alien movies.
Well, see, the thing is, like, I did think about that, but like, it definitely has like a cool ending. I just think they couldn't figure out like the best way. Like, it just felt like.
Because I mean, structurally, it has the same exact ending as every single Alien movie up until. Prometheus.
No, that I agree with you. They do have the same structure. I'm saying I think there are a lot of moments where it's like, oh, maybe they're going to do something different, and then it like just keeps going into what you expect. You know what I mean? Like I kept expecting them to try something like a little bit different.
I didn't expect the last part.
I mean, that part I did not expect, but like, I don't know.
It swings for the fences with that one.
It does, which is why it's a bummer that it takes so fucking long to get there. You know what I mean? Like that.
I was on board the entire time. Oh. I was like, this movie is booking fast for me. Yeah.
I also didn't think Kaylee Spaney was that good in it, but I think her dialogue was terrible. Sorry, but I think they like did not write her dialogue very well at all. She's a great actor. I loved her in Civil War, but at one point she goes, "Oh, girl," to someone in like the worst. I get the terrible line delivery, and I was like, "What is going on? Like, what is happening?" And I sound like a hater, but here I am.
See, and I think I was like the primed audience member for this movie because I was jumping at all the places. I was sitting here like this most of the time. Like the tension really got me. I was there, locked eyes with this movie the entire way. Oh, and it wasn't until afterwards that I started thinking about like some of my issues with it, but
immediately when they introduced Andy, I was like, are we really doing this? A mentally disabled man in this movie? Are we really fucking playing this game? And like, he's an android. I'm like, oh, for the love of God. So I got really mad immediately. And I was like, really?
I think you were like, lazy? I think at that point, I think that is probably where they lost you, honestly.
It's 2024. There are I thought of like, whatever. And you know what? I actually am a filmmaker now, so I can say that I know how to make movies and I know how movies work. Kind of. Sort of. Anyway. I sound like an idiot, but whatever.
No, I was looking forward to this conversation because you were like, what did you think? ... And I was like, I loved it. And I was like, what did you think? And you're like, eh. I was like, I can't wait to like talk about it because it is it's an imperfect organism, to paraphrase a review I saw. It really is an imperfect organism, but I don't know. It was working for me for the most part.
Good.
With a few minor.
Good. Well, I'm glad it did.
Not so
minor. Not as much for me, and that's fine.
Yeah. It would not be an Alien movie if it weren't divisive. I mean, let's think about all of the movies after the first two. Three people love to hate on. Alien Resurrection.
The fights online about all the Alien movies. I was just like, I can't do this. This happens every year. I'm so fucking sick of these conversations. Let it die. And they're gonna make that show. Oh, God. I love Alien, but shut the fuck up about it. I'm sorry.
Do not slander the show. I'm very excited for this show.
I'm sorry. It's just, whatever. Anyway.
This is my franchise. Like, I love Alien.
I
movies,
know.
so
Just people are so fucking annoying about
to love
Alien.
them.
Not you. Just some people are really
People,
fucking
no.
annoying about
People
Alien.
are just fucking annoying about their franchises. Like,
Yeah, that's
Scream.
fair.
Don't even talk
Oh
about
no,
Scream
I don't
online.
even look at that. I can't. No, thank you. They're mean.
Like,
They're weird.
anyone
They're
with
all
franchises,
freaks.
everyone is like obsessed as if like you have to love my favorite movie in the franchise. I'm not the same way.
I
but
hate
I do
all of
love
them equally.
Alien
No, I'm just
franchise.
kidding. I don't hate them.
Oh my god.
I don't. I'm just...
Wow, Mary Beth. Okay. Spicy.
I'm joking. I had a long day. No, we all know I
Spicy.
like franchises now. I used to hate them because I was a stupid teenager, but now I am smart.
Well, that's because like the best one is the Nightmare on Elm Street ones and the Alien franchise. And Chucky. Halloween, horrible. Friday the 13th, horrible.
Paranormal Activity is the best franchise. Don't give me that look. Don't you dare. Don't you dare do this to me.
So that's Alien Romulus.
No, it's really cool. It's beautiful. The space scenes are beautifully shot. Like, you know, it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing in theaters.
Practical effects.
Yeah,
I'm
most
so
of them
happy.
Are good. Some of it looks like a haunted house, and that's okay. Why am I so rude to this movie? What's going on with me? I'm sorry. Wow, I'm like a bitch.
I wouldn't go that far.
Ugh. I think I'm in like this headspace where like so many men are allowed to make movies like mid-movies like this, and like women are never afforded the I think I'm just frustrated about the industry and like my own movie situation. It's not bad, but I'm just like watching these movies and I'm like, women are never given these opportunities to just like make like divisive like franchise, except for Akasha Stevenson, who made the first Omen. Like, God bless her name forever. But like, it just I think frustrates me that like Fede Alvarez has made one good movie. And
one great movie.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. One great movie. It is a great movie.
It's
amazing.
Favorite.
I love that movie. But the rest of them, and yet he's handed Alien. And I am a salty little brat about it. Give a franchise reboot to a woman. It obviously worked with the first Omen, and just because she was like the one box to tick off does not mean we can't give it again to another woman. Oh, sorry. Anyway.
So how about Anna Howard Shaw?
Sorry. Oh, white girl goes on rant about state of industry. Oh boy. Wowie. Yeah. It's John Bon Jovi, huh?
Mm-hmm.
John Bon Jovi's here. Elizabeth Banks is here. My favorite part is Jenna getting worried her stalker doesn't like her anymore. It's so good. I love every episode. I love her so much because she's so. It's literally like what April Ludgate says in an episode of Parks and Rec. Like, you're the worst person I've ever met. I want to travel the world with you. Like, that is Jenna, and to me, like,
yes,
you are literally the worst person I've ever met, and all I want to do is know every single thing about you. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely,
like, absolute disaster creature.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I have a deep affection for her.
I do too. And it's because Jane Krakowski is I think this word gets bandied around, but she's fearless. Like, she is someone that is objectively hot, but like she is able to be the weirdo, and she relishes in that. And I think that is it's really funny that her comedic timing is so good, and she is able to just sort of make fun of herself in ways that a lot of people in Hollywood are afraid to do, to look stupid, and she embraces it and just moves forward with it in such a delightful way. I love her so much. She is my queen.
Her so much. So much. She really is like not afraid to be like the hot blonde freak, and we need more hot blonde freaks. But But before we talk about more hot blonde freaks, just so everyone knows, Anna Howard Shaw is an American suffragette. So this is Liz Lemon trying to make it not Valentine's Day because she's lonely. This is our typical Valentine's Day sitcom episode where everyone's pissed it's Valentine's Day, is trying to find a date. And Liz Lemon, decides to get a root canal that day, but can't get a ride home from anyone after she's anesthesia because everyone has plans. This is why we have Uber. So
she's in the same boat
Actually,
as
no, you know
everyone
what?
else.
I could not take an Uber if I had just come off anesthesia. Trying to get my ass to request...
in 2010.
No, but I was saying, like, this is why I'm glad we have Uber. Oh, they don't let you. Okay, cool. That's fair. Be like, can I just take an Uber home? But I guess if you're on anesthesia, like, who the fuck knows? Anyway. But yeah, so, of course, Liz Lemon is trying to forget that it is Valentine's Day, but she cannot because no one can give her a ride home from her medical procedure. Same. Just kidding. I do have a husband who can do that for me. But I love it.
Meanwhile, Jack goes on a date with basically a typical Fox News host.
After being on The Hot Box, a fucking fake Fox News show. With Avery Jessup. It sounds real. Like, I hate how real it sounds. And Elizabeth Banks is a hot blonde in a lot of tight, weird pink clothes.
I find her so funny in this show, though. And because she just, like, she represents the worst things about, like, the 24-hour news cycle. And I love that this is the character that she is playing as a love interest for Jack.
It also makes sense that he would date. I mean, it makes sense they would have him date a Fox News-esque person. It's only a matter of time. I will say, Frank's hat, this episode, Intestinal Fortitude, is truly a masterpiece. So, loved that. It was, goddamn, repulsive. Bon Jovi appears, which is incredible. And, my favorite moment comes when... No, okay, so I'm looking to make sure I'm getting my chronology right. Is fucking Jenna walking around the city wishing her stalker would follow her. And then... Is it after that she's, like, screaming? Oh, yeah. And, like, it's like she, like, opens her fridge and there's a bunch of baby doll heads in the fridge and she screams. Like, someone cuts off a piece of her hair and she screams. But she's, like, having, like, a romantic view of it, which is absolutely incredible. And then after this, we have Liz Lemon waking up from anesthesia, thinking that all of her exes are there, to take care of her on Valentine's Day, so she won't be alone. So John Hamm, not Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis, and the guy from the insurance commercials, all come back.
They do. And then she tries to make out with a tree that she thinks is John Bon Jovi.
She does. Oh, wow. And then Jack proves how good of a guy he is by going to pick her up, and Avery Jessup thinks he's making it up to end the date, but he shows her just how fucking wild Liz Lemon is. Sweet baby angel.
And yet, the line... Again, I love their relationship, but when Avery Jessup is trying to figure out what to think about Jack, so she asks a very high Liz Lemon, and she's like, I don't know what I would do without him. And I was like, that is such... Their friendship.
I know.
Their friendship. Would not exist today, but their friendship.
Yeah, definitely very funny to watch the show and be like, this would not fly. Like, no one would want to watch this show.
No.
Because everyone hates their rich boss. Oh, it's so funny. Like... Oh, man, Tina Fey tried to make us think that writers and studio executives really got along like this ever. Like, okay, well, I'm glad that you have a very idealized version of what that relationship looks like.
Yeah. And then we have the future husband episode that follows immediately afterwards.
Yes.
And
did I put my toaster waffle into a DVD player?
You kept trying to hire a masseuse off the internet.
He kept trying to order home massages off Craigslist. Like, good lord.
Somebody order a massage. It's too late. I've already killed her. Aww.
But then we also have fucking Tracy trying to, like, get it's Tony eligibility season, and he has his EGOT necklace, and he's trying to get the tea. favorite, Liz goes, "Are you prepared?" He's like, "What am I, a nerd?"
And the moment when Jenna talks herself into helping him out, where she's she's so angry that he's trying to get a T because, you know, she's been petitioning the Tonys to give an award for living real life theatrically. And she gets so upset that like he is potentially like he's getting rave reviews, and she like ends up talking herself into helping him out, which is just classic Jenna. Like getting so angry that it would have that all of a sudden it ends up being about her because it would take an acting coach of such magnitude. Okay, fine, I'll do it.
We're an I Am Legend. You're Will Smith, and I'm the dog.
Oh, Jonathan, Jack's assistant.
Oh, I love Jonathan. And then, but then we also have, okay, there's the plot with future husband finding and this cute Michael Sheen. And then we have the Tony shit, but then we also have Jack trying to find out why it's so quiet.
Yeah, and it's because, again, this is a show of the time when NBC was being sold to Comcast. And so NBC in 30 Rock is being sold to Cabletown with a K.
Oh, and it's so sad. He's like, my dream since I was a child to be CEO of the General is dead. Like, oh, poor dude. Once again, just poor Jack Donaghy getting fucked over. And they actually have a very genuine hug moment where he's like, permission to hug. He's like, cleared for landing. And they hug. But also this feels just like now, where it's like, oh, cool, Discovery is buying another network. It's like, it just is really weird that nothing has, like, really changed that much. It's kind of fucking freaky, honestly. It's like, I don't know if that gives me hope or if that just makes me nervous. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like, oh, cool, things never change, but also like, wait, why don't things change?
Things never change.
Like, so, yes.
But boy, the future husband first date, so awkward.
I can't.
Michael Sheen and...
I can't. Like, this show is not, like, I don't usually get secondhand embarrassment from the show, but boy, oh boy, there are a couple times that the show makes me want to fucking crawl out of my skin like I am a banana.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so young, too. He's just, like,
I know.
a guy.
I realized that on this rewatch, and like, oh, Michael Sheen, he was so cute in this show, I will say, but like so young. What a baby.
Well, British people have notoriously bad teeth. I've never heard that.
So awkward. So awkward.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I have it just so I can remember. Older women are brought back. And he's smiling the whole time. Like, he's got that, like, very polite British sensibility. Oh.
It's becoming a situation.
It's becoming a...
You
keep saying it.
Too much.
Oh, man, what a show. Oh, what a show.
And then Kenneth throwing his wallet out the window and causing a car accident.
Yeah,
because he's an optimist and everything will be okay.
Also, again, Kenneth in the last episode was my favorite. Writing, I love to eat your boogers with fucking lipstick. Like...
Yeah. I don't know. Cuts her hair. She goes, she's so happy.
Sorry, getting that girlfriend a necklace she wants and cooking her a Western omelet when she's on air, like, talking about Jack. Why is he cute? Like, it's so annoying that he has, like, he's got the daddy issue looks, like, because I have daddy issues, so, like, I'm attracted to him. He's got those baby blues, and it's just, like, really frustrating to me. And I'm blaming this on you because you're making me watch this show. Forcing me. Clockwork Orange style, like, holding my eyes open with toothpicks. You have to go soon, so let's wrap this motherfucker up. I didn't realize what time it was.
It's been a wild
I'm
episode.
I'm having a weird day, and that's okay. Okay, well, we are continuing on, of course, our 30 Rock journey. So where are we going next, Terry? Tell me where you're taking me next.
We are skipping ahead to the end of season 4.
Oh.
And we're going to be watching episodes 21 and 22.
Okay.
Emmanuel Goes to Dinosaur Land. the Emmanuel movies. And episode 22, I Do. At this point, Floyd, played by not Ted Lasso, has come back to town, and she thinks that he is here to, maybe rekindle a romance because he left to go to Cleveland, and he shows up with his girlfriend, his fiance that he's planning on marrying, and she ends up getting stuck being involved in 3 weddings all on the same day. And so that is sort of the lead into these 2 episodes.
I might have seen that. Who knows? We're going to find out. It sounds vaguely familiar, but last time I said that it was not true. So who knows?
But yeah, so episodes 21 and 22 of season 4. But Mary Beth, I know, sorry in advance to everyone for not having an episode this week. It's been a week. So I apologize for that. That episode will be coming out eventually, but who are we chatting with on Monday, Mary Beth?
Ooh, on Monday we are chatting with filmmaker Adam McDonald. He is the director of Pie Wackets, which we've talked about, and Backcountry, and his latest film, Outcome the Wolves, is coming on... his latest film, Outcomes the Wolves, is out this Friday. And he brought with him the Twilight Zone episode Teacher's Aid, starring Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah, and it's the new quote unquote new Twilight Zone from the 80s. So it's the not the original ones, but yes, Teacher's Aid. What a fun conversation.
Yeah, it was a really fun conversation. It was cool.
He was a great guest.
Yeah, he was, and it's cool because we talked about Pie Wacket before, so it was cool to get to just talk to him and learn about his. Like, why he likes being in the woods so much as a Canadian. So, listeners, you've heard from us, but we want to hear from you. Did you watch something that we talked about this week and have thoughts? Did you have suggestions for things we should be covering? Let us know by sending an email to scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us directly on social media. I am at MBMcAndrews on Twitter and at MB.McAndrews on Instagram.
And I'm a Gaily Dreadful everywhere.
And of course, follow the podcast everywhere. We are at Scarred Podcast on Blue Sky and Twitter, and then we are at Scarred for Life Podcast on Instagram.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. And I promise there is a Patreon episode coming your way.
I don't know how to do time management right now. Isn't that fun for me? I keep lying to you, and it's really fully my fault, honestly, guys. It's just really my executive function. That's it, man. And that's my problem and not yours. So that's the status of that. I'm being brutally honest and just being like my ADHD said, go fuck yourself into space. So.
This is a whirlwind of an
Sometimes
episode.
you just gotta be brutally honest about your own mental health. Okay! Jesus fucking Christ. What is going on with me today? Who is it? Who's it, me? Oh, you already have. You because Patreon. Oh my god. Thank you to Eric Power for artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for music. Thank you everyone for listening and for dealing with my weird ass behavior today. I'm obviously on one. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
Until next time.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?